Welcome to Embrace the Spiritual Podcast. Join friends Michelle and Dawn as they share tips on how you too can open your heart, raise your vibration, and reclaim your sovereignty. Hear what they have experienced and overcome in their spiritual journeys while navigating this expansive spiritual multiverse. Discover how they transform their soul lessons from ordinary into extraordinary.
Follow, subscribe, and share Embrace the Spiritual Podcast on all streaming services, including YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Go to embracethespiritual.com for bonus content and a list of upcoming episodes. To book an aura regression, raw Reiki, or Akashic reading with Dawn, visit her website, alchemy-sacredsound.com. To book a quantum Akashic reading, quantum Reiki healing, pet Reiki, or a home and land clearing, visit Michelle on her website at energeticembrace.com.
Welcome back, where we talk about shifting reality. What is it? How do you do it? Is it even real? Well, I guess what you make real is real to you. So let's dive deep and start talking about how you too can shift your reality to lead a better life, be happier, be more grateful, get into that new earth energy that we're all here to participate in and leave that negative, yucky stuff behind.
Shifting reality. I think this one has such a big connection to manifestation, because when we talk about manifestation, part of the concept of that is we still need to take action towards what we want to manifest. So why not start shifting your current reality into a desired reality? So if you can start kind of visualizing yourself in this new reality, you're embodying it, and guess what? You're accelerating and amplifying that manifestation. So shifting reality can start something really simple. So maybe you have something that you want to shift. Maybe you don't want to be stressed in work situation or school, and you want to invite more relaxation into your life. Here's a little bit of a process that you can do to help working on how to shift your reality. Because great concept, but most people think, well, I don't know how to shift my reality. I'm not that powerful. I don't have those abilities. But you do. You have the ability to shift anything and everything in your life. So delete, cancel, clear any of that thought process that you don't have the power to do this. A lot of times we're scared to make these changes because we don't know who we are, maybe without having a victim mentality or, some attachment to an emotion. But we do have the power. Like anything, if you want to work on manifestation or shifting realities, you want to, start from a place of eliminating distractions so that you're just with your own thoughts. Maybe there's nobody else in the house. Maybe you're outside. You could put some earbuds in. I really encourage you, if you're going to put earphones in, to make them wired earphones into your device, because the Bluetooth is going to be constantly sending EMF signals and interfering with your brain thoughts. So really encourage you to move back to wired headphones for this. And maybe you have a playlist that you can create on your phone of songs that embody what you're wanting to shift into. So not where you're coming from, but where you're wanting to shift into. Always, always, always light a candle. Lighting a candle, obviously, if you're out in the forest or something, you want to have a safe container, but lighting that candle is really important for transmuting energy. So that candle will help you, ideally if it's a white candle, I like to primarily use white candles, and just create that comfortable space. So you're setting your environment for co-creating a new reality. And write down what you want to shift. Make it a declaration. And, if you have to go back to our conscious languaging episode to, work on getting the right language. But when you write out what you want to shift, be really clear and concise of what you're releasing and what you want to co-create with the universe. So make sure that you're using kind of those healthy, positive words. Like you don't want to be wishing or should, which is very judgment based, and bring in the excitement around it. At the end of the day, you're shifting out of something into something you want. So make it really desirable. Imagine yourself. So maybe you're shifting from a stressful environment to new. Maybe you're considering retiring, but you know what? That's pretty scary, leaving a full-time job and retiring maybe on some savings you have, or maybe you're going to do an entrepreneur business that you'll kind of be your own boss. And so that shifting can be really kind of intimidating and maybe scary for some people. So what is your desired reality of why you're wanting to shift something? And, close your eyes, envision and embody what that looks like. If you had enough money to travel as much as you want, where would you go? Imagine yourself, if it's laying on a beach or maybe on a sailboat, or, maybe you're golfing wherever you want in the world. So create the reality and see yourself as a player in that reality. Because if you can't envision yourself in it, then it's just kind of wishful thinking, isn't it? So create that reality and really embody it and get excited about it, because the more you can get excited about, maybe a journal of what things look like. Oh, I'm in this like really amazing house on the beach, because that's maybe part of my reality. What do I look like? Maybe my body has changed. Maybe I look slightly different. You know what? Maybe you've been wanting some spiritual gifts to come in. What does that look like if you have that? So if you can write that out and describe it almost like you're creating a story in a book, but you're the main character, right? So kind of give that person background. They went from this to this and they've got these qualities, and here's what they get to do in this new reality. And you know what? Maybe list some of those people that you'd like to have in that reality, or maybe it might be people you don't want in the reality, but because we want this very, not even future focused, because you want to act like you've got this now. So have the people in there that are supporting you as part of this new reality. Picture your friends, your relatives, or relationships that you want, like, is there a certain person you want to travel with? And, make them a part of that story. Do you want that story for the rest of your life? Or do you want to just have it for a certain time period, maybe the next 90 days, maybe the next month, and start, like, you'll find that as you start creating this new reality and, maybe read it again and get excited by it, and maybe start posting things online that are more in alignment with that new reality, and plan those adventures. Oh, if I was going to go to, maybe say you always want to go to Jamaica, I don't know, plan what that would look like. Oh, I'd love to fly into this place because I've never been there, and maybe stay there for a while before I travel on. And, all those actions, interestingly enough, are starting to co-create with the universe of what that could look like. The universe, we've talked about in manifestation, that the universe is responsible for the how, but doesn't mean you can't envision what you think it might look like, because you're still putting that out there. So, this happens when you're in that state of relaxation and that enhanced consciousness. We've talked about the theta brainwave. So when you're in bed, as you're just either waking up or just going to sleep, you're kind of in that in-between state. That's a really good time to imagine those other kind of realities we're talking about. I know I have these in my dreams. I have very lucid dreams about me being in different realities. So I'm just talking about kind of one specific concept of what it could mean to shift your reality, but it's so much more. It's not just one thing about shifting reality. And whether you're doing affirmations, but really feel it. Affirmations, make sure they're not just words, but you're feeling it. And they're present tense in action. I shift to what? And if you have to write it out first so you get the right wording, great, but do it in a relaxed state of being, so that, do a body scan, make sure you're fully relaxed, release all the tension. If you have to have a shower first, maybe it's a good idea if you're doing this at night to kind of release all of your daily energy cords and all those things that we've talked about, so that you can begin embodying it, because your body will shift. So even if you maybe notice you've got some tension in another area of your body, you might find it shifts as part of this. So have fun. Start with small things. Don't put an attachment to a timeline of when this might come true, because it might not ever come true. And that's okay, because we're co-creating with the universe. And I know I always ask, and I know Dawn does this as well, that ask for what is in my highest good. Because sometimes we think we might want something, but our highest good, it might look slightly different, and that's okay. So you're just wanting to shift into a different way of being sometimes. So I wanted to share, I came across kind of that technique, and really it fits so closely with manifestation, but I think it puts a different spin on maybe a little more tangible way to make that happen.
All right. And while Michelle was talking, my angels were like, okay, this is what you got to do. Because I realized if we are not energetically in balance, you can try to manifest all you want and nothing's going to happen. So I'm going to recommend a heart centering. You can call it a meditation. You can call it, you could probably do it while you're driving, because it honestly, it felt natural to me. So you can be outside grounding, you could be, at the office. It literally, you can make it as long or as short as you want. Because if you're not feeling stuff in your heart, it is going to be harder to manifest. Because how can you feel that love, that happiness, that joy that you can encompass when you are in love and happiness and joy? It is so much easier to manifest and let things go. And it was a lesson for me, because I got angry about something and my heart chakra was like, nope, we're shutting down. And I'm just like, really? Like it wasn't that big of a deal. And I thought I was dealing with it. Okay. It was like, nope. So just imagine, beautiful golden source energy light coming into your heart chakra. And then you're going to open your palms, because when I meditate, I like to have my right hand on my heart chakra and I like to have my left hand on my abdomen, and then I create a infinity symbol. So you're imagining that light coming in, going to your heart chakra, and then when your heart chakra is like so big with that beautiful light and you start feeling that tingling, you let it come down your arms. And if you are feeling anything that is blocking you, you start clearing out negative energies, entities, technologies, anything that could be blocking you. You just ask your angels, help me. Ask your team, help me. Let's get this energy flowing. I want it to flow now, until you can feel your palms vibrating or tingling or itching. All the sensations are going to be different to different people. If you feel something in your palms, and I can feel them because they're facing each other, then you're going to clap your hands 4 times and say, open, open, open. And then you're going to create that energy ball. And it can be big, it can be small, it can be ginormous. And then meditate, don't meditate, whatever you want. But let's start opening our chakras and getting them aligned, because if your chakras aren't aligned, it is going to be so much harder. We can talk to you till we're blue in the face, but it's just not, because you're an energetic system. If there is a circuit that is off, it's just not going to work. And that's just, the energy's got to start flowing from the top all the way down to your root chakra. And then once your root chakra, once that's all beautifully flowing, hit your earth chakra as well. You'll know, or you won't know. If you need help, you can always book a session with Michelle or I for a Reiki, and we will assist you in whatever you need in that moment in time and space. But by doing things like this to shift your reality, you can also shift physical things. Your mind is so powerful, and it has been documented that once you start shifting your belief system, you can, using a gratitude journal, you can sleep better, which is, I know how many people have a hard time sleeping. I'm guilty of it too. All you have to do is write 3 things that you are grateful for before you go to bed. Conjure up that feeling of thankfulness right before you fall asleep, and your chances of sleeping well will increase. I'm going to try that tonight. I mean, I usually do try to do that, but sometimes I do forget because I've got a lot on my mind. If you want to live longer, you got to be focus on your life purpose. Why am I here? What do I want to do? Do I want to volunteer? Do I want to create something? You need a reason to get out of bed every day. And a lot of people don't have that reason. They go to those jobs that they just don't resonate with, and they just feel like, oh, am I really here for the right reasons? Start changing your perspective. And sometimes you do need a energetic shift of a job. Think deeply. Is this making me happy? Am I centered? Are my chakras aligned? start asking yourself questions, because if you don't know who you are, how are you going to know what to ask for and what to do to shift your reality? Meditation can help slow aging. Who doesn't want to, slow down their aging process? And that is, aging is what gets us to leave this life quicker. What if we could slow it down so we live to be 200 years old? I mean, our life is so fast paced. Why can't we just live it moment by moment and not think about how old we are, all the 50 million things that we feel like we have to do in that moment in time? Let's just take it one thing at a time. In this moment, I'm talking to Michelle, recording a podcast. That's all that matters. I don't need to know that I'm going to have lunch after this or, doing 10 other things. In this moment, I'm speaking to you and hopefully it's resonating in your heart. And I also like this one. You can imagine yourself working out and it shows that you will gain 20 more percent muscle strength. Who doesn't want to do that? I mean, while Michelle was talking, I'm like, I'm going to try that. So I imagine myself working out because, how many of us, I know, Michelle, for you to travel, it's like a hour drive. Can you imagine working out for an hour in your mind on that trip? Like you'd be so buff and so ripped. It'd be bikini weather all the time in your household.
That is definitely my kind of working out. I love it.
It's so simple, but we don't question enough. We don't ask for guidance. And because we're talking about reality shifting, who doesn't want to be more toned, more fit? It's a beautiful gift that we can give ourselves. And really, it's just changing how we think about things. It can also reduce your risk of heart disease if you laugh more. And I know that I have asked my team when I do bless my food, I clear out all of the negative energies. And then I ask for, source love, gratitude, joy, healing, abundance, gratitude. I don't know if I said that. I think I did, but just in case I didn't, because I'm thinking and talking at the same time, like what are the 5 things that I talk about? We literally can heal our food and have our food heal us. So why wouldn't we do that every single day of our lives and start off, with our water, anything that we eat? It's a beautiful gift that we're giving ourselves. And I just, want to see more people being more conscious, conscious languaging. Also is conscious eating, conscious driving, conscious, how we take care of ourselves. If we do it consciously, being heart-centered and in love with ourselves in the moment, we're also doing self-care. And who doesn't want to do something beautiful like that? As we shift our realities, we come to love ourselves more, which when we can love ourselves without limitations, because I know a lot of people are very judgmental on themselves. I know I am. We can give more back to the community. So just a few thoughts on things that I came across that are scientifically proven to help you.
Yeah. And I think having that conscious awareness in everything we do is really key because we are shifting realities whether we realize it or not. Every thought we have, every action, every word we say is shifting your reality. That's what the Akashic Records are about. The Akashic Records, there is no future telling in them because it's a dynamic library of information that's constantly changing based on our thoughts. So if your reality is shifting anyways, do you not want to be in the driver's seat of shifting that reality? I do. I don't want to be in the back seat of the bus and have something else driving what my reality looks like. That's not very effective for me. And I think that's what happens a lot of times is we aren't the driver of our own bus. Even if that visual helps you, perfect. Because I know I came across that concept several years ago and it really put it in a different perspective. If someone's not driving their own bus, wow, that's pretty profound, right? We're letting either society control where our bus is driven, maybe family or friends. And one point that I want to make about this concept of shifting realities, it's interesting, my right ear, all of a sudden the humming in it shifted. So this is really key. This is not about escaping reality. So we're not talking about disconnecting and trying to create a different life because, if you don't like where you're at, escaping reality is not the way to achieve it. Like Dawn said, we still have to put in work to work on those things that we're not happy with in our life. And one of the ways can be through this shifting reality and making it something that we want to be. So I want to be really clear that I'm not promoting escaping reality, because I think that's just disconnecting from yourself. So you're not plugged in with what you need. And it usually, when we escape reality and put ourselves in those situations, it's actually not a reality we want to create. We're just escaping. So as Dawn was talking, so much of this is about intention. What is your intent around it? And when we have intention, I intend to have a restful sleep. Or, like Dawn said, even the exercising, our mind is so powerful that even if we are quote unquote imagining something, that's still a conscious thought. That imagination is extremely powerful. I wrote down the word daydreaming. So isn't this really kind of like daydreaming? So daydreaming, to me, sometimes I think people just treat it like a wishful thinking, but to me, daydreaming is creating opportunities. I'm daydreaming about what things could be like. And that's not escaping reality. For me, that's co-creating reality that, I really want to be in a situation where, maybe I wake up with a beach and water in front of me. So I'm not saying where that has to be, but maybe that's something that I daydream about. So as you daydream about these things, typically those daydreams invoke that little heart flutter of that. That would be kind of fun. That's what it's all about. Daydream, imagine, put some intention behind it, and, pay attention to your dreams, because that could be telling you things that you're co-creating and maybe you don't realize you're co-creating. So be that child in wonderment. Like, we tend to think the daydreaming stops when we're kids. Right? When we grow up, yes, we have to get into reality, pay our bills, but it doesn't mean you can't daydream and try to co-create a reality that you're really excited about. And to me, that's really what shifting realities is. We're doing it anyway, so why not drive your own bus?
People often get stuck in the negative kind of high school mentality, and that is not our reality. That was a moment in time and space, and it is time to let it go. The gossip, the name calling, the I'm better than this person, we are all equal. We're all here for a reason. And to look down at other people, be judgmental, that is stopping you from changing your reality. To talk negatively about yourself, about your spouse, name calling, it is detrimental to what your reality. It will keep you low and not being able to create. And once you realize that you are done with doing that, the sky's the limit. You can create, you can change your reality. You just have to, and it's not going to be instantaneous. You have to start small. Because if it was like a boom, I think, the governments would notice, oh my God, this person went from like this to this, and we would be, all exposed. But you can start on a small level, and it doesn't have to be around money. It can be about happiness, love, joy, creating what you want. So I actually have been working on shifting my dog's reality. And you're thinking, how can you do that? So my girl dog is very protective of me, and she really does not need to be that way. She's also very jealous. She doesn't want any cats around me. She doesn't want the other dog around me. So when I feed her and I give her and her, my dogs their food, I clear the energy out. And then, I say, more love and more healing, more abundance for them, whatever that means. And she has been less aggressive towards people on walks. It doesn't help when people are walking towards us and she feels like they're infringing on, like, she's got like this 15-foot rule, which I understand. She does, we all have our auric field, and that's her auric field. It goes out 15 feet, and she's like, no, I don't want this thing in so she doesn't go on the defense, but we have learned, we pick them up. She still growls a little bit, and we walk on our way. So we can also do our pets. And my one dog has COPD, and the usual route would be take him to the doctor. He would go on pills. That would be that. And then we try to manage the symptoms. Well, what if you took it a step farther? I do tonics for him. I do Reiki healing. There is also acupuncture points, which you don't have to use the needles. You can use the energy in your hands to hit those points with. There are other alternatives out there that we have not been taught to look at. It's time to start thinking outside the box, outside the reality that we think we're stuck in with the television and the TV programming, because I listen to them at work, and the way that we talk to each other is just really disrespectful. The putting down, the name calling, the I'm not happy unless I'm on drugs or high or drunk. That is not a real life. Having them occasionally is fine, but having to constantly be drunk or be drinking is just not a reality that I want to be part of. And it's also, you're using it to escape, because you're pushing aside dealing with what needs to be dealt with. Instead of healing yourself, you're pushing aside the reality of healing that you don't want to come. And it is this, what we're talking about is all about healing. It is doing the inner work. It doesn't happen overnight. Can be a long process. It can be a short process. Some people have been doing this for 30 years. It is on their timetable. And we're, my hat's off to them for continuing doing it, because some people would have given it up after 2 years. But you can do this on your own every single day. Calm that mind. Stop buying into the programming, the fear, whatever is trying to control you, let it go. You are in control of you and only you.
Yeah. And remember too, we're the only ones that are in control of how we react to situations. So how we react is usually because of a trigger in there. So I just wanted to add that sometimes we feel somebody is, coming across as a certain behavior, but we can't change others. We can only change our perception and ultimate reality of how we see the situation. So look at those as opportunities for growth. I want to just kind of add some extra pieces on the daydreaming, because I want to be clear, I'm talking about daydreaming with intent. Because sometimes daydreaming, again, I'm not promoting escaping reality, because like Dawn said, if you're escaping reality, you're just not dealing with something that is triggering you or that you don't want to maybe admit is going on with yourself. So, but here's some cool things that can benefit you for daydreaming with intent. That can actually reduce stress and anxiety. So maybe you need to take a deliberate daydreaming break in your workday, or maybe something stressful. Give yourself time to just tune out that outside world. Just let your brain float away and enjoy. Maybe you're daydreaming about an upcoming holiday. That's okay. Daydream away, or maybe a holiday you want to book and plan, because that'll help co-create that reality. So the daydreaming with intent, like daydreaming and really shifting realities, what we're talking about are just streams of consciousness. When you can put intent around your streams of consciousness, wow, you're really driving your own bus, aren't you? You're in control, and it's so hilarious. I just had a deja vu. So this is something to really pay attention to. Who doesn't want to reduce their anxious and stress? So, take that step away from your desk or work, maybe go outside, be in nature if you can. If you've got that opportunity, a little park near work or something, maybe you have to sit in your car, but just take in those deep breaths and think of something completely different than what the situation you were just in. Maybe you like to hike or be in the mountains, or maybe you've got a new car that you're saving up for. What color would it be? What features would it have? Can you see yourself driving it? So those kind of intentional, conscious daydreaming. Sometimes daydreaming can help us solve problems. How many times have you just been doing something random and all of a sudden a solution pops in your mind about how to deal with something? I know I've had times where, maybe I'm just laying in bed and this really cool thought pops in my mind, so I make a note in my phone as an example. So they're not just the mini escapes. It allows your consciousness to explore more of your brain. And when we're daydreaming, we're accessing more that right side of our brain, and that's our creative side, right? Versus our thinking logic mind on the left-hand side. And children's minds wander constantly. Oh, what about this? And, they're distracted. And sometimes we've labeled this, but what happens in your brain is actually pretty sophisticated when you're daydreaming. It uses specific aspects of your brain. Like, how cool is that? There's so many more benefits to this shifting, creating realities. ultimately it can help you reach your goals. Because if you're daydreaming about that car you're driving, all of a sudden an opportunity presents where you find this vehicle on sale in your color. Well, guess what? You were probably daydreaming about it and you brought it into your reality. If you're a performer or an athlete, you can, through this process, help kind of rewire your brain for that success, right? You're envisioning yourself having a successful outcome. Yeah, it just expands our creativity. Like that, I think, is the biggest benefit, because when we can be more creative and tapping into that right side of our brain, then our brain is more balanced. And that's always a good thing, because you don't want to live in just one side of your brain or the other. So it's kind of like exercising your mind as well. Daydreaming is, I think, probably been laughed off over the years of, oh, that person's a daydreamer. That should be celebrated. If you're a daydreamer, you're able to shift your consciousness and that reality into something, because how many times do you think of daydream as a negative thing? We don't. We always think of daydreams as this positive thing. Otherwise, we call it nightmares that we're having at night. So, I don't know, even saying daydream puts a smile on my face. So do you see how that automatically shifts your energy field when you're daydreaming? Because daydreaming is fun. It's putting you in that different type of reality where we get to play, because we get so bogged down, like Dawn said, judging ourselves about maybe the list of things we have to do that we haven't gotten to, or expectations at work. So we always have these demands on ourselves. So those demands will be there. And if you take a daydream, guess what? It might help shift that as well. As far as I'm concerned, nothing to lose. This shifting realities is, I think, something I know years ago used to be a trend. It's not a trend. I think it's just when we can be more present in our lives, be intentional, don't escape the reality, but find things to excite your soul, because that's really what we're here to do. We're here to have joy. We're here to have fun. And yes, we have all this 3D stuff going on, but we can shift that as well. We don't have to accept what is being presented to us in the world. We can shift that as well. We can see it differently, because if we get on board with what we're just being shown without using our own filters and discernment, then we end up co-creating what we don't want. And I don't want that.
So true. And along with using our mind, we need to move our body. There are so many different breathing techniques to help reset your system. Dance, do qigong, yoga, tai chi, mindful walking, therapeutic gardening. Change up your routine. What is not working for you? When we think of self-care, it's like, oh, I'm going to get my nails done. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. But really, it is that mind, body, and soul. Move your body. Fall back in love with yourself and who you are. What you do for others, what you do for yourself is so needed in this time and place to help raise your vibration, to shift your reality of how we look at things. Breathing is so important as well. There's just so much you can do. Look into it. I'm sure there's like 1,000 more articles, and we're just trying to touch on what we've been presented to get you thinking. Changing your reality. They show that yoga helps with arthritis, osteoporosis, and that's not even taking anything. That is working on your body. So if it's as simple as daydreaming, movement, we all can do that. It is not limited. We all have the abilities to heal, to grow, to change our lives. Step into it. Be the change that is needed. Join us next time for Spiritual Boundaries. What they are. Do I have them? Do I need them? We'll talk about it. We'll give our thoughts and opinions on it. And hopefully you'll learn like we do, as we always do when we do these podcasts.
Follow, subscribe, and share Embrace the Spiritual podcast on all streaming services, including YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Go to embracethespiritual.com for bonus content and a list of upcoming episodes. To book an aura regression, raw Reiki, or Akashic reading with Dawn, visit her website, alchemy-sacredsound.com. To book a quantum Akashic reading, quantum Reiki healing, pet Reiki, or a home and land clearing, visit Michelle on her website at energeticembrace.com.
Infinite love and gratitude. Thank you for joining us.